We've got a question here. So besides some nodes renaming, is GDScript remaining more or less the same, including groups and signals?
Groups and signals are very much the same. There's a okay, so the way you run a signal is slightly different, but only slightly, to be honest. I mean, you're not going to know. You're not really going to know the difference in most cases. There's very few changes under the hood in most areas. There are things like I forgot what they were called. Set gets. Set gets are now not. So before we'd do it like this, right? Set get bunny change, and then we'd make a function down here, and we'd call it bunny change, right? And it would take the new value. And we'd have to, set bunny to be the new value and do all the rest of it. However, this is not how this works anymore. That's also not how you spell bunny. Nor is that. Great. Instead, we now can put them in line directly under the variable. So whenever we're running that line, we'll say bunny equals. Actually, that doesn't need to change. Sorry. Set. There we go. I actually haven't played with this. So now if anything tries to change the... Nope. Expected parameter name after thing. Right. Sorry, I haven't actually been playing with the set gets here, so I'm doing this all live. That function quit not found in base. So, oh. Okay. So that's now how you do a set get. It's up there in the variable where you can see what's happening. So there's a new function called set bunny. It's going to reset bunny to 5. So if anything outside of this script tries to change bunny, it's going to reset it to 5 and quit, which I'm going to call the sulking function. So that's a pretty big change in how that works. There's also the way the keywords work now is very different.
Just a quick question, not from the viewers today, but from myself. So you've got that resetting in case something tries to change it. When would you use that rather than having a constant? Because obviously, if something is not supposed to be changed,
the way I would use a set get is when I want something to happen when a variable is changed, rather than say go to this other node and make this function happen, which is not great. I should be using single responsibility with either a signal or a set get, depending. So I might say go and change lives to 4, and when the lives are changed, it will now check what needs to happen to the player.
Gotcha.
That said, a lot of the times you'll be using signals, so there's lots of different ways of doing this. Other things that have changed is this is now very different. Export variable pants equals true. You know what? Let's type that. Okay. We are getting an error because that's not how that works. Instead, we now have little keywords. Expected expression, that needs to go on this side. Thank you. Okay, so we can now see if we should be... Oh, I need to save this, that's why. Save that. Oh, wait, which script am I on? I'm on the ball. Okay, great. Is the ball wearing pants? No. Yes. No. Yes. There's a bunch of different things you can use this for. And there's other exports in here, like enums, right? Now, this doesn't mean that I can make an export enum called pants type and just put plaid as a string, right? That's not going to work. Instead, here I need to specify what the options are. And now that's an integer, so that should be 1.
Nice.
So there's a lot of fun things like that can be happening. Some of this is taking a little looking up. Specifically when I have to load in, I'm trying to remember where I use this. Was it under goals? No. An array of resources, which is a trick I use all the time, is a slightly different thing now. So let's go on ready. Actually, it's not. Yeah, whatever. On ready. No, let's just make it a variable. Variable. Oh, I know where I use this. Character select. Rather than remaking the entire character select thing. That's a script I'm not using. That is a script I'm using. Okay. Which one is it? It's probably in game state, isn't it? Sorry. This is all very new. Here we go. Beforehand, we had array resource. So we would do export array, resource. This will no longer work. Now it thinks export is a function, an undefined function. So instead, you can now type it as array, and then what type of thing can go in the array, which gives us an array of resources. Now, if I remove that, you now can't drag resources into it. Oh, you wouldn't do it. Well, in fact, let's save it. I don't really want to save it because I'm going to drag them back in, but that's what would happen. So there are some fun things I want to talk about.
Yes. I have another question, sir. Can I ask a question?
Yes, I believe in you.
Awesome. So at the moment, you're saying, for instance, like there, we've got a variable, it's player 1 character. So have I got the wrong end of the stick or the right end of the stick with the strict typing that's coming with Godot 4, that we could potentially, instead of using the var keyword, use a different keyword? Or is that what you're doing there with the int, for instance?
Okay, so all I'm doing here is telling it this must be an integer. Now, you don't have to do this. That will work perfectly well. But if I'm using strict typing, I get a number of benefits. One, I'm less likely to get bugs, because when you've got a lot of variables with similar names flying around the script, it's really easy to lose track of when it's a string, when it's an integer or a float, when it's a Boolean. I mean, you can kind of get away with Boolean and integer depending. Two, if you're using strict typing, you get access to auto-completion because it knows what that variable has to be.
That's really useful.
So if I go... I should have access to, I actually don't know any of the integer things. No. Anyway, we would have access to all of those as strict type.
Gotcha.
3, apparently, there is actually a speed difference in GDScript when you're using strict typing in Godot 4. There wasn't in Godot 3, or at least it was negligible. Now I believe it's like 35%, which on a big game adds up. So
a lot.
There's 3 reasons to do it. I don't use it for everything. I probably should. But yeah,